I'm excited to welcome Laura Chadwick, President and CEO of the Travel Tech Association, to the A100 today. Laura, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so as someone that has a rich background in government affairs and now leading an association focused on providing value through advocacy, talk to me about the efforts you undertake to truly provide ROI for your membership.
Yeah, great question. So I draw upon my experience over three other trade associations. So when I left Capitol Hill, I moved on to the Consumer Technology Association, where we had the distinct pleasure of working with each other. From there, I went to the National Restaurant Association, and then I was employee number 2 at the XR Association. So I've seen up close. I worked in government affairs at Consumer Technology Association, National Restaurant Association, but then I switched over to membership when I was with restaurants. And so I definitely can deeply appreciate why trade associations exist, especially for advocacy. Trade associations bring people together, allow people to work on a common cause, to join arms and present thoughtful public policy inputs and the like. And I feel like trade associations are often put in a place that they have to sort of sing for their supper that we've done X, Y, and Z, or at least there's an expectation, right? That it's perhaps transactional, that you pay these dues and you get XYZ. Honestly think that the way of trade associations is shifting, right? And this happened in COVID when we no longer could gather together. We all felt very separate and alone. But trade associations were that outlet where people came together, right? And this was about building relationships. And so when I think about ROI for the Travel Technology Association, no doubt, we want to be that force in advocacy. We want to, present the best case for why travel technology companies should continue to flourish and the services that they provide to consumers in terms of comparison shopping. But I'm also thinking about community and how can we bring people together to find solace in each other, to understand other people's perspectives, to just better connect as people. So I think when I'm out there selling memberships to the Travel Technology Association, what I'm thinking about is not just talking about distinct benefits and the things that you get, but I think about what people get from a personal standpoint in coming together. That is really hard to put an ROI on for sure. So it has to be, you have to make place to both, but I think that that's a really important thing. And that's what trade associations, some of the best that I've worked for, do really well.
I love that holistic view, and gosh, how important the community aspect, especially for the travel industry companies and everything they've been through after COVID and through COVID. It certainly means a lot, and I'm sure provides great value for them to have that community aspect as well. So building on that, I spent years at the Global Business Travel Association before coming to the agency side of things. And so I know that there are often competing interests among travel companies in general. What about the travel tech space? Do you find that working with a lot of different members that you have to balance competing interests? And how do you determine your priorities and positions with that?
Right. I mean, I think this is an age-old trade association challenge for sure. And I will say that at the Travel Technology Association, we do have distinct types of members. We have the online ticket agents, the Booking and the Expedias and the fare portals, the TripAdvisors, the Skyscanners of the world. We have some B2B businesses that enable actually the online ticket agents. And then we have some B2B businesses that cater to the business travel world. And so for the big issues that we grapple with, whether it's with airlines or hotels or, anything in between, short-term rentals, we also represent Airbnb, that there is a common denominator there, that we all are dealing with these other industry groups. And they do advocacy so well. Airlines are fantastic. Hotels do a fantastic job too. And so we are, this is our home. And so that sort of that binding spirit, this level of trust that exists between us, between the members and myself, really helps bridge those gaps when we do have them. There certainly are issues that people are like, I don't care, doesn't impact me. But we are all, and when I first came in, one of the very first things that I did was like, we need to come together as a board to reaffirm our mission statement and our values and like our vision for this organization. And that, I think that really helped as well. With new leadership, new representatives to the board too, we needed something that reminded us of why we are together. So I'm pleased that the board, humored me in this way to allow us to do that. But I think it's had this great effect to come together and reaffirm like why we're here. And what we settled on is empowering traveler choice. And each of the member companies do that. And that is at the core of who they are. And that helps a lot. So like a unifying message, 3 words, keep it simple, that has really helped us get through sort of these harder issues.
That's so smart to go at it that way. And, I know you did it from the perspective of being new, but I think any association could take that time to step back and say, let's reaffirm that mission and our values and think big picture, do that every year or so to think, how are we helping our members? And you came to the great spot of something that brought everyone together. So that's a really great approach. I am curious, you were named President CEO for Travel Tech last October. And I know you've led departments and initiatives before and had a lot of really fantastic opportunities and roles in your career so far, but this is your first CEO role. So I would love to hear about your take on association leadership, everything from what you've learned to the advice you'd give other association CEOs in their first year. And then big question, what will success look like after 1 year is done?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I have to give credit to the great leaders at previous trade associations. So, Gary Shapiro, Don Sweeney, Liz Hyman, they have been essential for me to learn and watch from afar, maybe Liz a little bit closer as I was employee number 2 at the XR Association. We were very small, but they are doing fantastic work under her leadership. They, so the approach that I take to these efforts, and I think my experience being a federal lobbyist and then being head of a membership, building out a trade association at XR like we did, I took it from 5 members up to over 40 members by the time I was done, be able to tell that story about the value that a trade association brings. And so, right, you have to paint a picture. You have to be the vision thing is a real thing to get people to understand why there's strength in numbers. My day-to-day approach to working with our members, I'll have to be honest, it's a bit that I learned in couples therapy. And these, that's
great.
It's how do you navigate conflict between adults? And so I use things like, I heard you say this. Is that right? And tell me more. To be open.
Love that.
To acknowledge that I bring my own view of the world, and that is not all of my board members bring their own view of the world. And it's not about it's my view, and it's not about their own particular, it's our collective view. And I think the really nice byproduct of this, and this is true in couples therapy as well, is a building of trust between people, to understand, right? Don't look at it as straight as a business perspective, right? There certainly is that, and that is a huge driver. But we are talking to individuals, we're talking to human beings here. Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be understood. And even if we don't agree with your point of view, the collective is not, at least that person has felt heard and knows that they are respected, and then there's space for them. And, you know, the board members have told me that, you know, since I've gotten here, we have a lot more conversations. And I know in my experience at trade associations, you know, sometimes members, they come and they just come to listen. They just come to collect information. You know, information is a currency here in Washington, D.C. And like, where can they get the best insights? And so, but that is like a one-way street, like just trade association giving, when really the best trade associations are those it's a two-way street, right? We're giving and we're taking and we're coming up together, we're building anew. And so you know, what I do is ask provocative questions. I say provocative things. I say, I think we should do this. I'm ready to put myself out there, to be vulnerable, to be wrong. And I am wrong many times. And that I'm okay with that. I, you know, feel like I am the person who has the clout to be able to say, I don't get this. I don't, you explain it to me. And then let me repeat back what I think I hear you're saying. And that has proved to like really help get the juices flowing, get people to react to things. I mean, it's kind of terrifying to sometimes be like, okay, here's what I think we should do. And for them to be like, no, you know, right? It gets people talking and, you know, lets them know, again, this is a safe space for sharing. Look, Laura, she just made a fool out of herself by proposing something. I feel comfortable talking to and sharing my point of view and know that again, there's a level of trust here. And, you know, I think that is really other philosophies that I have also is, you know, definitely want to avoid those situations where this meeting could have been an email. And so again, that gets out to the, like, just report out, like, let's get this over, talking to our members as quickly as possible. No. I also subscribe to the keep it simple, stupid. Yes. Like, people's lives are complicated. Public policy issues, you could go to the, you know, the bottom of the ocean on some of these things. And that is important in some instances, but otherwise we need to start up here rather than down here. We lose people. And so keeping it simple, stupid for as long as you can, I have found is really easy way. And it's also my job to like pick out the big theme and show them the simple, right? Is this right? Did I get this right? Is this, and this is important when we're talking to congressional audiences who are covering, you know, a wide berth of issues. They don't just care about ours. How can we make their lives simpler? How could we explain this better that they're like, I got it. You know, we only have so much time to do that. And like, you have to be effective. Also, you know, a corollary to this is TLDR, too long, didn't read it. You know, I also think email is a dying medium, you know, that you should not be relying on that to convey your messages to policy audiences. You have to think outside the box. And our new website definitely taken this philosophy and, you know, put it into action. I've long, you know, had feelings about trade association websites that they're trying to cater to two different audiences who have nothing really in common, right? You know, industry people, current members, more probably future members, and then policy audiences. And so what you wind up in is this sort of weird mix between the two that doesn't make sense for either audience.
Right, exactly.
So we're going to do something, you know, innovative, you know, on our new website. We are designing a single page introductory homepage, but we're going to make the user choose their own adventure. So if you are an industry member, you will check for industry, and that will bring you to a industry homepage. If you're a policymaker or staff member, it's going to bring you to the policymaker page. And for policymakers, right, I worked on Capitol Hill. I know, again, information is currency. I need information fast. I need you to show me it to you, and we have to keep it fresh and timely, right? I feel like I was recently on a website, someone had stuff from 10 years ago. I'm like, clean this up.
Yes.
So we've built some automations into our website that will, once we create a news post, it will automatically be added to that policy page, right? We are creating easy places for congressional staff to cut and paste information, right? They just want to come and find it, use it, go. And that's how we are of service to them. We're also launching a Instagram channel just focused on the policy audience. We think that we can have some fun, show some personality. People love to travel. People up on Capitol Hill, they're travelers, right? What can we do there? So we have some really fun things that I think will help engage our audience, you know, talk about things that they love, but also like be feeding the broccoli of like, here's the public policy that supports, you know, comparison shopping when it comes to airlines. Let us tell you about it. So we're catering to that policy nerd who loves to travel. And I'm really excited.
That's so fun. I can't wait to see that. That's really, really cool idea. Something new and different.
Yeah, like we have to mix things up, you know, like we have to think about the audiences that we need to convince. And we have to think about these aren't, you know, I know everybody like we want the member of Congress, we want the senator to engage, but like that is undoubtedly so important. Yes. But we also have to meet their staff where they are and make, again, it's our job to keep it simple. And that's where I think our message can most effectively land, which then over the long term, like yields results for us.
That's so great. I mean, I love all of those approaches. It's such a fresh way of looking at things and just a realistic way to help associations succeed. And I feel like you guys are setting such an awesome foundation for not just year one, but where you go from there. So it's really great advice, and I appreciate you sharing all of that with us.
Yeah, stay tuned. Our website will be launching in mid-July along with our Instagram feed.
Awesome. We'll be sure to check it out. I can't wait to see it. And with that, Laura, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you sharing your insights and joining us on the A100 today.
Thanks so much, Colleen. Great to chat with you.